To make the beaded crochet wrap necklace, the first thing that you'll need is size 10 crochet thread. Aunt Lydia's is the brand that I'm using. These are all Aunt Lydia's threads. Comes in a lot of fun different colors. I purchased the mint at Michael's and these three from Joann's. The next thing you'll need are glass beads. These ones I purchased at Walmart. This is a 40-gram package. They're size 6 beads, if that helps. And if you're going to make the necklace with only 5 rounds, then one of these packages is enough. I prefer to do the necklace with 10 rounds. I think it's prettier, thicker. So you'll need 2 of these if you want to do a thicker necklace. This is another example. These are a little bit smaller beads. This one package would be enough to do the entire 10 round necklace. These are 4mm beads, and I got these at Joann's. These are the beads that I used on the pink necklace that I'll be showing you today. They're glass beads, and you'll actually need 4 of this size package. These are 20 grams. So total you'll need at least 80 grams of beads to do the full necklace. Or if you're counting the beads, you'd need 1,120 beads. You'll also need a size E crochet hook. I like to have a little scrap of fabric to put my beads on when I'm trying to thread them. And you'll need a needle that is thin enough to fit through the hole inside of your beads. The first step in making the beaded crochet wrap necklace is to add the beads to your ball of thread. So the easiest way I found to do that is to put a needle onto the end of my thread, make sure it's small enough, and test it to make sure that the beads can actually fit over it. And then I dumped out all my beads onto this little scrap of fabric and used the needle to scoop them up like this until all of them are on your thread. Once all of your beads are added onto your thread, you're ready to begin crocheting. So you just start with a normal slip stitch, and you're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now comes the fun part. You get to add a bead. So grab a bead from down below, pull it up next to your crochet hook, and then just do a normal chain stitch around it. Then you're going to chain 2, add another bead, chain 2 more, chain around the bead, chain 2 more, chain around the bead, chain 2 more, chain around the bead, 1, 2, bead, 1, 2, bead, and let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we need 8 beads total, so we're going to do 2 more chains. And this is our last bead, our 8th bead. Now we're going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is the basic pattern that you'll repeat over and over again. Bead, chain 2, bead, chain 2, bead, chain 2, until you have 8 beads, and then a section of chain 7. So 8 beads, chain 7, 8 beads, chain 7, and you're going to do that a total of 13 times, and then the 14th one is a little bit different. So I'll go ahead and show you that in a second. You're going to repeat the pattern of 8 beads, chain 7, 8 beads, chain 7 until you have 13 sections. Obviously this is shorter for demonstration purposes. When you get to the 13th beaded section, you're going to chain 7 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's say this is the chain 7 of the 13th time. On the 14th one, you're going to add the beads like normal. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 6, 1, 2, 7, 1, 2. Get my beads down. This is my 8th bead of the 14th section. Now instead of chaining 7 after you've done the 14th section of beads, you're only going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's actually the last stitch of round 1. So you're going to reach back down. You have 14 beaded sections now. You're going to reach back down to the very first stitch at the beginning of the chain, and you're going to slip stitch them together to make it into one big circle. So just stick your hook through that first stitch and then pull through both stitches. There's your completed circle for round 1. Round 2 starts with a shell stitch. So get your beads out of the way, and you're going to yarn over and then stick your hook into the same stitch that the very first stitch. I'm going to stick it down in there and then do a double crochet. Oops. Like that. Then do another double crochet into the same stitch. And scoot those beads back out of the way. You're going to chain 1, then double crochet into that same hole again, and double crochet into that same hole one last time. So what we're doing here is making the very first shell stitch, and the shell stitch is this: 2 double crochets, chain 1 in the middle, and then 2 more double crochets all into the same hole. Then we're going to basically do the same thing as round 1. I'm going to chain 2, and then we're going to do 1 bead, chain 2, 1 bead, chain 2 until we have 8 beads again, just like round 1. Okay, so here's my previous shell stitch, and I chained 2, and then I've been doing my beaded section. This will be my 8th bead, and then we're going to do the next shell stitch. So do your last bead, your 8th bead, and then chain 2, 1, 2, then reach down to the next chain 7 section of round 1, and you're going to count to the 4th stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over, Then insert the hook into the 4th stitch and double crochet. Yarn over and do another double crochet into the same stitch. Chain 1, and then 2 more double crochet in the same stitch to finish off your shell stitch. Then we're going to chain 2 and do another section of 8 beads, and then you'll repeat this same technique all the way around until you get back to where you started. Here's a close-up of the shell stitch, just for anybody who's still wondering exactly how to do it. This is my 8th bead, so I'm going to chain 2, then pick up round 1 and count to the 4th hole. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to yarn over, insert the hook into that 4th stitch and pull through. Then just a regular double crochet. Go in that same hole again for another double crochet. Chain 1, and then 2 more double crochet stitches, into that same stitch on round 1. Then get these pesky beads out of the way again. Chain 2 and start the next strand of beads. On the last part of round 2, see, we're back to where we started. This is the beginning right here. You can see the little starting tail. This is my 8th bead of this last section, and I'm going to go ahead and chain 2. 1, 2. And then we're going to connect this shell, this last shell stitch, into the first shell stitch that we made. So you yarn over and go into that center stitch of the previous shell stitch, pull through, and do another shell on top of the first shell that you did. So here's my second stitch. It's the same exact stitch as before, but we're just doing into the center of round 1's shell stitch. So we do the chain in the middle, and then 2 more double crochet, and there we go. It's a stacked up shell, so there's 1 shell here and 1 shell here. Now this is the start of round 3, and all of the rest of the rounds that you'll be doing, you do this exact same way. So you'll make a shell stitch in the previous round, the center hole of the previous round's shell stitch, and then you'll do the beaded section with 8 beads, and keep going until you have your necklace as thick as you want. The original pattern calls for 5 rows, but I made one that was thicker and actually liked that better, so I would suggest doing 10 rows. It takes longer, but the finished product is more weighty and beautiful. So it's up to you, but you just keep on going until you've reached the end of your necklace.